Okay. Up. Okay. There we go. We are live. Yep, yep, yep. 239 on the Canadian. My goodness. Hey, happy Tuesday, happy Tuesday. It's a happy Tuesday. That's it. Who's who is here? The who's who is here. Oh yeah, HGRAF party. HGRAF party. Let's see, where did HGRAF hit on that pop? 173. Holy moly. Right, and you remember me, look, you remember me drawing out the triangle? I was like, yo, it's getting ready to pop. You know, you want to get in. Yeah. Yeah. $1.73. Look. Look at the videos back here. Look, yep. First week of May. First week of May. I told you guys, I even tweeted. And I didn't even think anyone reads those. And apparently someone was checking out HGRAF posts, and all of a sudden I got a reply on a tweet on X from back here. And the guy was like, "Dan, you were early, man." Cream's rising to the top. They're slowly discovering who's who. Right? They didn't know who is that, who is this. Now they know who's who. More shares this morning, very nice. Yeah, doing good with the charts. Doing good with the charts. We spoke again. Yeah, we spoke about that triangle tightening. Look at that. Worked out perfectly. Perfectly. Oh, the idea of the company. Yeah, like I said, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. If they, again, actually start to get orders, and if we really do see them go into, the construction industry, the healthcare sector, if it's really going to start to be used everywhere, I think it's going to be huge. Need my own podcast? Yeah. Yeah. The Who's Who podcast? Yeah, we can start it up. We can start it up. Get you guys some sweatshirts, some t-shirts. Yeah, we'll get the merch going. Everything will say who's who. And you just decide, you want a pair of shades, you want a hat, you want a shirt. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, we'll get you some hats, pair of sunglasses. On one side it says who's, and then on the other side it says who. Yeah, socks, yeah. You got the who's who socks. I like it. Deli Bob, how's your hammer hanging, buddy? Yeah, we're chilling. We are chilling. When in doubt, just buy Palantir. Oh, it's beautiful. Long time listener, first time caller. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we're gonna deck you guys out in merch so that everywhere you go, everyone will know who's who. And if they have to ask, then of course you can just tell them who's who. Oh man, I still say again, unfortunately, this was like 100% for you guys. I am not really involved in this, even though, of course, I called it perfectly and could have definitely put myself and my family in a better situation. But it's okay. It's okay. And you can see technically, if we're looking at the trends here, right, we're kind of still on the up and up. So, we'll keep it on HG here again, just because the CSE gives us live quotes here for HG. HGRAF quotes are delayed, unless you look at your account, of course. Let's see. HGRAF right now, $1.51. HGRAF live quote. Why do I feel like that's out of proportion, though? This hit 239 and HGRAF only hit 170? Hmm. Just in anticipation of this becoming a mega pub, I looked up how much you can give in shares or money under the gift exemption. Apparently, I think it's up to 18K. Really? 18K, wow. It used to be like 11. Okay. Well, of course, I will accept a nice gift like that. Great call. What's next? Ah, you're a riot. Gift tax exemption. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I was a broker, many years ago, and they keep changing all these figures. But yeah, it used to be like 10, 11K. Was originally 10 or less. Yeah, yeah. Okay, it's up to 18 now. All right, that's pretty sweet. Yep, like I said, if it hits big, you want to send me a nice little tax-free gift, I will, of course, accept with open arms. Not because I'm greedy, but because I earned it and deserve it. As I said, I'm not trying to guilt trip anybody, but I mean, we got people up thousands of percent. We got people up 6, some people up 7 figures. So, again, not to be cocky, not to be greedy, but technically on these cells, my piece of the pie should be sizable and should start to flow in on profit taking. As you get what you pay for, as they say, right? Anytime you talk about money, people always say, oh, there's people out there that charge like $10 for their trade. Yeah, okay, fine, fine. However, you might get $10 results, right? So, I don't know what the heck that's supposed to mean. Looks like we formed a double bottom here, not really moving too much. We're technically back above this resistance trend line, though, it looks like here. Let me show you. 239 right there. See, and if we come down, see, we're technically above that resistance now. So we should really climb kind of back up here. And we'll see. Got about 30 minutes to go. My 10% commissions won't get you too far yet. Nah, don't worry about it, brother. It's all good. I appreciate that. I know you guys, a couple of you always try to look out for me. I appreciate it. Like I said, if you're a smaller investor, like I understand what you can send, what isn't gonna, drain your account. You show a little appreciation. I understand that. I'm talking about the big boys, and they know who they are. They know who they are. People coming in here telling me they're up, 2.5 mil, and technically we didn't even get a catalyst yet. I mean, you know, if you really think about it, like my payout on that move, that of course people wouldn't have known about without me, that just made them 7 figures. I mean, if you really think about it, you know, like what is that worth? And that's why, again, in my opinion, it's not about being greedy. It's about being right more than you're wrong and knowing where to position your assets. Yeah, we got people up 2.5 mil. I spoke to someone about a week ago. He was telling me you had 600K. It was down to like 400K. I think he's like all in on HGRAF. So that was like a $2.4 million position, and that was days ago, by the way. So flying you out, wine and dine you. Well, I appreciate that, but also I should get a 6-figure transfer. Again, that's what I'm talking about. You know, you take profits on a $2.5, $3 million position. I mean, even 5%, even 5% is a massive chunk of change. And again, some people might think it's extreme, but I mean, if I literally turn you into a millionaire and you wouldn't have been able to do it without me, like I said, what is that worth? Or what is that really worth? Yeah, we got some people up big. We got a lot of people that went in size. So I'm just glad, you know, I'm just glad it worked out. Why didn't you take a position? Well, first of all, I had very little funds, and I wasn't aware that certain platforms like Fidelity didn't have like a minimum amount of equity or a minimum investment amount to put into an OTC stock. So that's first of all. I probably would have opened a Fidelity account much sooner and tried to grab a couple of shares for myself. But also, Murray, again, it comes down to, you know, I was just too nice. I wasn't charging anybody. I thought we were kind of working off the honor system. And, you know, I thought I'd get taken care of on the back end. And unfortunately, it really just comes down to people just not taking you seriously and not listening. Because as we said, you know, a lot of the calls that we made in the past, I mean, we've definitely been significantly more correct than incorrect on this channel. So, like, if you did what I was talking about, you're probably up nicely over the last couple of years. And basically, going off on a tangent, but basically, if I was charging everybody 50 or $100 a month for the last year or two, then yeah, I would have had, you know, my own little money, and I would have been able to have thousands, tens of thousands of these shares. My cost basis should technically be like 10 cents on HGRAF, right? Stock hit $1.70 today or whatever. So I should technically have a sizable position that is up, you know, 1,200%, 1,500%, and I do not have that position. Which is why, again, I'm kind of driving the point home. If and when this continues to climb and everybody makes big profits, you got to remember who got you there. And that's all I have to say about that. Hey, 20 viewers, how you doing? How you doing? Oh, we only got 3 likes on the stream though, fellas. We need some likes, we need some thumbs up, right? The algorithms run the world, we know this. We know this, we need to feed the algorithm. Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it, appreciate it. Like I said, I forget to do it too all the time. And it's funny because even if you pull up a video that has like millions of views, you'll see it'll have, you know, like 58,000 likes. And, you know, that percentage is so low. Which kind of makes you wonder why they put so much weight on the likes in the algorithm, right? If a lot of people don't do it, forget to do it, it's whatever. Shout out on the value, nice growers too. LPX, yeah, LPX having a nice day. Shout out to Deli, mentioned that before. Look at that, up and just flat, almost a 6% day. Again, this is a lumber company. LPX again domestically. We had the big drop down a couple of months back. Markets pulled back. We came right down to key level, and then you can see we're just kind of in this upward channel here. Recently got earnings about last week. You can see a slight miss on the EPS side, but once again, revenue is healthy, coming in above estimates, beating by almost 20 mil. Once again, this is a stock, one of the first stocks I spoke about on the channel many years back. And again, this isn't your, speculative tech high flyer. This is just a nice, stable, growing company. Again, right, it's a necessary material, right? We need our lumber. Stock in general, undervalued. I think I first did a video, stock was like 50 something or like low 60s. And I was saying, in my opinion, like looking at the fundamentals, like this should be like a $150 stock. And you can see, first of all, we got a 52-week high there, 123, right? So we almost made it to the mark. And also, I think it was about 2 weeks after I did my video, of course, we found out Warren Buffett took a position in LPX. So again, that's what I mean. Is someone always going to be 100% right? No, unfortunately, it's impossible, right? We can only control the controllables. And the random tweets from Trump or policy changes at the drop of a hat, we know that's out of our control, right? So we can only control what we can control. But, yeah, something like LPX, in my opinion, again, domestic, lumber, 2020, yeah, see how we went into this like sideways little range? I mean, we ran up in 21, and then look at that. It took until the end of 23, going into 24, to break up and out. And this is what I mean, right? In this situation, people get impatient. What's going on with LPX? Why did I buy it? Is this even worth it? Do you still see LPX going higher? What do you think about LPX? Should I cut my losses on LPX? Should I buy something else? And then kaboom. Tale is all this time. LPX, too good. Embark gaining ground. Don't know anything about OTC. I wasn't able to buy HGRAF in UK. Yeah, UK, yeah, you guys, you're locked out. I know we had a couple of people in the Discord from the UK say the same thing. And I even mentioned, try to see if you can buy HG shares on the Canadian exchange. And apparently you guys aren't able to do that either. So, unfortunately, our friends over in the UK are kind of locked out of this one. But, even though you're missing this little pump now, remember, if in a couple of months the company is going to get listed on the NASDAQ, then, of course, you can buy as many shares as your heart desires. Technically still above trend line. Interactive brokers. Yeah, people were talking about the different platforms, who you should try. And like I said, I don't know if they're able to. And yeah, I appreciate that input, Murray. Yeah, you can try to see interactive brokers. Move to the States, yeah, right? Who the hell told you to live in the UK? That's first of all, right? You're better off, just buy a ticket, fly over here. Set yourself up in a nice little shack. Probably only cost you about $200,000-300,000. Yeah, 212 I know is a big platform in the UK. But yeah, try to see if you can open an account with like through like one of our major banks or brokerages, or like Murray said, interactive brokers, something like that. Try to see if you can check out some of these other platforms and just see if you're able to buy. Again, it doesn't have to be HGRAF on the OTC. But of course, check to see if you can buy OTC stocks, but also you can just check to see if you can buy stocks listed on the Canadian as well. And if they let you do that, but not OTC, then you could always just buy HG on the Canadian. So, see what you can do. SB hanging out. SCCO, you notice, like the last couple of weeks, even when they bring it down a couple of points, they bring it right back up. Yeah, I mentioned yesterday, again, it was kind of a toss-up because we saw the metals and the commodities move in the opposite direction after I mentioned the short-term options. Of course, just my opinion. But I mentioned some trades I may see in the Discord. And yesterday I said puts on oil, and it kept going up a little bit, but now you can see we're down over 1% today. And same thing with gold and silver. I said calls, in my opinion, and they slowly pulled back into the close. Now you can see we're bouncing. We're both green today. Quick Google says Interactive Broker available in UK. Should be good to go. There you go. There you go. And again, you don't have to, completely transfer the account, I mean, you could just use Interactive Brokers for OTC stocks or, some random international stocks. HG, if you're just joining us, I am just too damn good at my job, and we are slowly learning who's who in my line of business. See, a lot of people didn't know. I know we got Nick out there trying to tell people he's making up t-shirts and socks for us and whatnot, but the word must be spread because people, they still don't know. They don't know who's who. People get confused looking in the mirror, you know what I'm saying? They don't know who's who. We got 24 viewers. How you doing? I think that might be like the most at one point in the last 2 weeks since we've been streaming. So that's pretty cool. I'm glad the word is spreading a little bit. Again, all these Reddit bros, they jumped on HG, they jumped on HGRAF like a week ago, and they're up maybe 100%, 200%. We are the who of who's who in our business, and we knew about this stock 15 months ago. So we just want to welcome all the Johnny-come-latelys, all the people who didn't take us seriously. I just want to say hello, and I want to say thank you, because you're just helping everyone else now be up thousands of percent. Most people I know don't even invest. Well, you know what they say, you can't fix stupid. You can't fix stupid. Once I saw the market and how stocks grew over time and all the brand names, how they like slowly just absorb more business and maintain or gain their market share, and the stock was just worth more and more and more 1, 2, 5 years down the road, I knew immediately the game plan is to accumulate shares, build a position, and just wait. But yeah, that's what it comes down to, Nelly. You can't fix stupid, and it's a fact. It's a well-known fact, especially now with markets raging. But even before, lockdowns, when we had this massive market surge, even before that, 15 years ago when I was a broker, it was a fact. Everyone knew that the millionaires made in this country, the bulk of them were made in long-term investment accounts, and the growth came, of course, through the stock market. So that's why, again, when younger people, and I'm not knocking the whole, option trading. Again, you're trying to hit the home runs, looking for the base hits. Like, I understand, I get it. But also at the same time, to not simply just, as I say, accumulate shares, take positions in nice, good growing stocks with good fundamentals. I mean, you see the growth in share value over the months and over the years. So that's why, again, as I said, you can't fix stupid. You try to tell people these things, and some people just don't understand it, so they don't want to do it. Other people see how volatile it is, right? They heard horror stories from other people talking about how much money they lost in the market. So, those are the people who are like, I don't care, what it is. You call me with Apple, Amazon, doesn't matter. I'm not buying any stock. So, everyone's different. But, again, I think if you kind of let people know, like, hey, everyone who has money kind of made it in the stock market. I mean, that should really push people to at least learn about the market. When you call on short-term options, is there a certain time frame that you're usually looking at? Yes, the answer is whatever time frame makes me correct, right? Because I'm always right. I'm never wrong. So I'm always right. So, yeah, I always have that backdoor excuse. And also, I said, listen, it's not really about, I may not mention exact expiration dates. And it's not because I'm not confident. It's because everyone's different, right? Some people might have $50 to do an options play. Some people might be sitting there with 50 grand ready to flip options. So it really depends, what stocks could you look at? How much risk could you take? If I mention a strike price close to current share price with a month of time, right? That might cost whatever, $400, $500. Like, you know what I mean? So if everyone can't buy the same thing, that's why I'll just kind of mention in general, like, oh yeah, like SLV calls. And that basically means I think it's going up a little bit. But, I mean, of course we know if you buy weeklies, you get the biggest rate of return. But again, it comes down to how much money you have and how much risk you can take. So if you want to roll the dice and you think the move will happen immediately, you could buy weeklies, or you could buy next week's. Or if we're talking just in general, like, oh, Disney should sell off back to 100, right? Then something like that, you should probably buy like a month or two of time. But I do always say, even though you may miss out on more profits by playing more time, I always said, in my opinion, time is king and time trumps strike price. So even if you're dealing with a little bit of money and you have to go very far out of the money, either up or down, if you buy enough time and then the stock does begin to move in that right direction, again, the returns might be massive, but the goal is to be right and secure profits when you get them, right? So we know there's multiple ways to play options, and honestly, when it comes to option calls, unless people are coming in and making, thousands a day, every day off your options calls, they start to not believe and trust the process, and then they veer off, they start to do their own thing. So that's why I always said, like, any short-term option plays I mentioned, that's just a cherry on top of the sundae. The actual sundae itself and the value here is in the longer-term calls, which obviously you can see because this position is up several thousand%. I didn't know how to invest years ago. Took trying to purchase a Marvel Strike Force account through crypto. I learned the hard way my first year. Yeah, I don't know what that means, but I'm glad you learned, and I'm happy to have you. Microsoft Apple started as a penny stock. Oh yeah. Monster Beverage. Can't go wrong too often with 30 to 45 data expiration or leaps, assuming you have the cash. That's what I mean. Everyone, some people got $22 cash, and they're looking for an option play so that they can now have $50 cash. Other people are sitting there with $2,500 cash, and they're like, all right, we're doing earnings plays. What am I looking at? Leaps. So that's what I mean. Everyone's a little different, and usually the more volatile stock is, the more expensive time is. Because if you're now buying a month of time as opposed to a week of time, Wall Street knows that a stock like that could be up, 5-10% for, 4 out of 5 of every day moving forward, right? So you might hit that wild out of the money strike price within a week or two, even though you're buying a month or two of time. You know what I mean? So that's why certain options, depends how much cash you have. It's a whole process. But yeah, we had a couple of people, I'm not going to mention his name, but we had, I remember, I want to say like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I had someone come into Discord and he was like, yeah, I was doing options. I was up to like 25K. Now I'm down to like 8. And at the time, I was making some good calls with options. right? And I was kind of talking about how time trumps strike price, like I explained before. And if you buy a lot of time, even if your strike price is far, if the stock starts moving, right, the option's going to start moving, so you can make easy money that way. And this kid just, just listened to what I said. And when I would type something like, oh, Disney puts, right, a bunch of people in the Discord would try to buy the weeklies because, of course, they want to see the biggest return. And this kid was like, you know what? Anything this guy says, I'm just going to buy 2-3 months of time, just like he told me, and I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to wait till I'm up. And his account, I believe, rebounded from about 7-8K. We got him back up to above 25K, and I think it only took a couple of months. I really think it only took a couple of months. And that's why I say again, if you have the capital, it should be easier because you're able to work smarter, not harder, right? You're able to buy shares instead of options. You're able to buy months of time instead of a week of time. And yeah, back in the day, I was like, oh, Disney puts. And that kid bought Disney puts. He bought it with 2 months of time. And then, like 4 weeks later, he'll just mention in the Discord, like, oh, hey, great call. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Oh, whatever. Doubled my money, made a couple of grand. Same thing. Said, oh, PM calls, even PM shares. At the time, it was like 100. Lower, actually. But either which way, I was saying PM calls, PM shares, in my opinion. And same thing. The kid was like, all right, I'll buy calls on PM, and I'll buy them 3 months out. And then you just saw the message in the Discord like a month and a half later. Like, oh, hey, great call again. Really appreciate it. I'm up. I made thousands, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I mean. Within a couple of months, the kid was right back to 25K. And that's why, again, not to be cocky, it's not difficult. You just got to control the controllables. Thanks for the live. Good to meet you. Got some earnings calls to listen to soon. Okay. Best of luck to you, Murray. Best of luck to you. Thank you for your time. HG having a rage bounce going into the close, as you see. Yep, gold and silver staying up, oil staying down now, 1 1/3%, oil down. This thing wants more. Yeah, it does. I'm telling you it does. Of course, Murray, don't mention it, brother. You have a good day, alright? We'll catch you tomorrow. Alright, that line just shifted for me, but that's okay. Yeah, no problem, Garrett. Again, everybody's different, and like I said, if you want to, talk in the comments, or if you want to just come in the Discord, just kind of explain your situation, and we could try to find a couple of option plays. We could do it that way, too. Charts on HGRAF going to look really interesting in a year from now. Looking forward to it. Oh, yeah. It's going to be, might be unrecognizable, right? We might have to redraw everything. But definitely made some phenomenal, put out a really good layout and a really nice roadmap with the tech analysis last week. So I'm just glad it's working out. But yeah, we just looked at this daily trend line again. We got above it, and that's why I said, once more, and you guys see it too, once more. 20. Oh my goodness, we're up 220. We're fighting. The buy's coming in before the end of the day. I said we get news, the Dow goes down, NASDAQ goes down, doesn't matter, comes right back up. Stocks only go up. We know this. When in doubt, buy anything, because stocks always go up. HGRAF live quote, $1.60. $1.60. Yep, the last minute of the day. What's a good account that helps with tax protection, plus flexible or less restrictive to withdraw money when you want? Um, well, obviously, well, you got your Roth IRA. I'm assuming you're here in the States, right? The Roth IRA is uh, uh, Roth IRA is pre-tax income, right? And traditional IRA is post-tax income. Yeah, but see, if you're looking for a longer term account with some sort of tax advantage, and you're asking restrictive to withdraw money when you want, that's not how they work, right? That's not how they work. A lot of these investments, whether it's a CD or a municipal bond, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. These investments that require you to hold your liquidity there long term to take advantage of whatever, the dividends, the tax deferment of payments, however you want to put it, you are going to get penalized heavily to withdraw from that situation. That's why they give you a higher rate or a tax cut or something like that on the account or on the investment, because you're agreeing to lock it in for 12 months, 18 months, and not withdraw it. Yeah, the Roth again, yeah, again, I said, I was a broker years ago. These figures apparently changed, but it used to be if you have an annual income of less than 35K or a net worth of like under 200K. So if you fit one of those categories, I believe you qualify for a Roth IRA. Otherwise, you would have to do traditional IRA. Thanks for the insights, timelines for calls, puts. Yeah, like I said, everyone's different. And if you're in the Discord or something, and you message me and say like, oh yeah, listen, I got like $70, is there something we could find? Then we could try to find something that could have a good move, but we can also try to narrow it down to a stock that has an options chain that isn't too expensive. And we could also try to kind of secure your profit. Right? If we, again, as an example, something like Disney puts or something, if we can find like almost a perfect time to where it topped out to get you in ideally at like the cheapest price on the turnaround, and we're able to buy you like a couple of weeks of time to quote unquote secure and kind of try to guarantee the move. You know what I mean? It's like a puzzle. You got to make sure all the pieces fit in and go together, and then that's when you strike. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Just message me. Definitely max out the Roth IRA first. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't focus on the longer term accounts. And yeah, if you're like in your 20s or your 30s and you're sitting there with even thousands, tens of thousands, but all you have is this trading account, then I agree 100%. You absolutely should take a step back for a second. You should set up, again, whether it's a Roth or traditional, you should set up some sort of longer term retirement account for yourself. And yeah, in theory, you really should make that the first priority. And then what's left, you can have fun in the shorter term. In 2025, your Maggie, no idea, has to be under 150,000 for single filers to make the full Roth IRA contribution of 7,000 or 8,000 if you're 50 or older. Wow, bro. It used to be like 3,000. It's up to 7,000. How is it 150? Modified adjusted gross income. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's up to 150. It used to be 35, bro. Used to be 35. That's insane. That's insane. 220. Yeah, it kind of looks like a key level. Again, it wants more, though. It looks like it wants more. SPY puts yesterday. Yeah, well, obviously markets exploded today, but usually on a big update like this, that's when you want to buy your puts, right? Inflation, yeah, I guess. I mean, freaking they brought that amount up bigly. They're just like letting you know straight up, like, oh yeah, you make less than a couple of hundred grand, you're poor now. So yeah, go ahead, enjoy a Roth. Go ahead, have a good time. Yeah, that's wild, man. It's up to 150. Wow. Well, I guess that's good because I guess if I start making money, I could qualify for that for quite some time, maybe. Depends how nice my community is and how much of a chunk they send me on the HGRAF cell, which of course, phenomenal winner here on this channel. Seeing 20, 30, 40% days after seeing 20, 30, 40% days. Absolutely beautiful. Look at that. It wants it. Like I said, we might break up from the triangle and we might just hold, right? I said we could potentially just like hug this line and continue to trend upward. Not going to sell until we hit 200. Hi-yo. Looking for that 200. Right up to the line, right? Little drop down, we know, right? We can't only go up, so we got these little drop downs. Boom, we kind of come down, test a little moving average area maybe, and then boom, maybe pop right back up and hit those new highs. But HGRAF, if you're just joining us, up another 18% roughly, closing above $1.50. Again, first brought to you on this channel at 11 cents, and then the next update was at 8.5 cents, giving you an average cost basis of 10 cents a share. Stock up to $1.52 on the close, hitting $1.73 of new highs today. Going to live off my dividends after we get there. Hey. It's gonna be good. I mean, it's already good, right? But it's gonna be good. Yeah, there was some big chunks of volume come out in the late afternoon there, after 2 o'clock. But again, we were technically right up at the trend line. I mean, we technically hit highs, 170, right? So for all you know, those could have been people who bought just a couple of days ago at like 85 cents, right? And then they put in limits at $1.70 plus, and they secured a 100% move. So you have to remember, not everybody is looking at this situation like we are, right? You got to keep that in mind as well. I love your accent. Are you from Ireland? Aussie Cola, how you doing, brother? You're Australian. Be Australian. Yes, if you're unfamiliar with the accent, I am 100% Ecuadorian. You guys are correct. Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Yeah, it's a good one. You like it? That's good. That's good. You know, I'm here to please. You know, I'm here for you. Here to make you happy. Anything for you, Murray. I live to serve. I always forget that this stock is 15 minutes delayed because I'm sitting here like, why is this stock moving at 408? Beautiful. Do we buy now or wait for a dip? What, on this? You talking about this? The stock that's up 1,500% from the first call? Well, like I said, we had some people... what was it? And we had some people a couple of days ago who were saying, oh, I put it in order to buy more at 75 cents. And we can see the stock had a different plan. So I'm not exactly sure. Again, if we continue to just kind of like stay up and stay hot, I mean, I don't know. You know, maybe the 140s, the 130s, kinda. Maybe you can catch a dip. I don't know. I don't know. We are in the dip. Oof. HG listed as the most popular ticker on the Canadian Stock Exchange website. Woof. Woof. Do they know who's who yet? Nick, you've been handing out those t-shirts, brother? Little old HG that no one knew existed over a year ago when we first looked at the stock is now the most popular ticker on the Canadian Stock Exchange website. Think about that. Canadian mining communities all over this one. Imagine once the American market wakes up to this. I can only do so much. Can only do so much, Nick, you know? Can't buy it for everybody. I can only control my controllables. Yeah, that's what I mean. Oh, see, yeah, a bunch of people were saying, like, oh, yeah, I'm putting in GTC orders at 75 cents. Freaking stock almost hit $2. So it's hard to time. It's hard to know, number one, when a dip is coming, and number two, how much of a dip is really going to happen. Because it seems like even when it does dip, there's people who are instantly buying those dips. So it's hard to time. It's hard to time. Stocks by the numbers will be the most poor, cocky guy we will ever see. Yep. 100%. 100%. I am the best to ever do it while simultaneously unable to do it myself. That's got to go in the record book. Somebody call up Guinness right now. What's the time frame the stock blows up? Oh my goodness. If only there were like videos and updates for you to watch to find out about this stock, right? If only. You people are killing me, man. Like I said, the videos are for you. They're not for me. I know what to buy, right? Even if I never made this YouTube channel, if I had money, I would have bought HGRAF at 10 cents. Do you understand? Do you understand? The videos are for you. Not doing this for me. Yeah, it is a tragedy. Johnny. Who's that? Johnny? Johnny CL? Busting my balls. Everybody's looking for the next one. I know I didn't take you seriously, and I completely missed the call, and I'm a moron, and, you know, you're the best to ever do this, but, like, is it gonna go higher? What's the time frame? I can't, bro, I can't. Right, typical Johnny, right, Murray? That 100% Johnny showing up. 100%. Oh, you called this stock 2,000% ago? You like it? You think it's going higher? That's what I mean, bro. You can't help people who don't want to help themselves. And Bud had a good day? Yeah, I know. You guys mentioned that. I didn't look at it yet. Let me see. Oh, boom! The cream's rising to the top now, boys. Like I said, in case you're not aware yet of who's who, Southern Sky will be handing out pamphlets and flyers with that information on it. Love it. Now welcoming all Goombas in the chat. Mbot, again, Mbot was, what those Hanson kids were singing about, as I said, all those years ago. I didn't pick up on it. It was like a subliminal message, right? Everyone thought it was just like, you know, some weird new pop song, but it wasn't. You listen carefully, they're telling you, bat, 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 right? They were trying to tell us, and nobody was paying attention. But of course, because I'm the best to ever do it, and yeah, we're finding out who's who in my industry, Mba, on the move. You bought Mba, doesn't matter, bro, when this Prince donation's coming your way. Hey, Aussie Cola. One hand washes the other. Can I run the advertisements for the merch? Absolutely, Nick. Absolutely. You're my advertising and marketing guy. You can take that whole branch. No problem. No problem. Cole Baker. Hey, yo, Cole Baker. I told you a story before. I didn't want to mention your name, but if you guys recall the option story I mentioned about the gentleman in the Discord who was just listening to what I said, was buying, months of time to secure the move, and we completely rebounded his account within a couple of months. And then, of course, he disappeared and tried to give me some bullshit story recently as to why he's back. But we did have a phenomenal turnaround for this individual. I'm doing very well on health in tech. Well, more power to you. Cole Baker, one of the only kids, rebounded his account 200%. They're going by, they're revving, they're trying to drown me out because we know the truth. We know the truth. Rebounded that account instantly, 200%. Then all of a sudden I get a message like, oh yeah, I was, you know what it was? I was working on this app over. I don't know what you kids try to pass off with your bullshit to me. Everybody's a freaking app developer now. Alright, guys, whatever. Whatever you say. And the best is when you like triple someone's money, then they disappear. Then they try to come back and they're like, oh yeah, I'm back in action now. How's everything going? It's like, what do you mean back in action? Like, I made you 300%. You should have never been out of action. You should have only been thinking about more action. Right? You should have been asking me for my address so you can bring me freaking coffee and donuts before the market opens, right? Am I wrong? These people make me laugh, man. Out here trying to change lives, and these people think they can take, 8-month hiatuses and shit. It's hilarious. I hope that kid pays it forward. No, he's not paying it forward. He's in here laughing. What do you mean? Should have asked Cole who is who in this industry years ago. Yeah, he knew. He knew. He might not have told you, though. He's very busy. He's very busy, Stocks by the numbers. App when? Yeah, I don't know. Hey, talk to Cole, apparently, right? There's a freaking app genius over here, this guy, so he could take the reins on that one. Stocks by the number coin. Oh, I said it. I actually said it a couple of months ago. I was talking about starting my own coin. So we'll think about it. You hear about that guy that got 10 mil on stocks, made an app, spammed it on Reddit, then rug pulled a coin. Yeah, I heard about that guy. Discord meet up with coffee and donuts. All right, how you doing? Is Bitcoin the future? Listen, I don't condone this, but if anyone can see Rico right now, why don't you just reach over and give him a slap? Not trying to hurt anybody, just slap a little sense into him, You guys are hilarious. Got a couple of characters in here. Yeah, Cole, I don't know what you're crying about, brother. A simple thank you would be fine. Just a simple thank you. Thanks for everything you do. You're the best to do this. Right? I need you to apologize to me, you know, like a chick would, you know? Like a chick, I took it for granted. I appreciate everything. You're one of the best to ever do it, you know? I need to hear some of that. Maybe we'll put you back on the nice list, because right now you've been naughty. You have been naughty. And don't think because you're Asian it doesn't matter. I know a lot of Asians out there that celebrate Christmas, right? So you could still get yourself a lump of coal. I don't want to hear that bullshit either. Looking for those dream companies. Looking for that Inception IP. Who has it? Look at that bot. Perfect. Right back up. Right back up. Yeah, this is not adjusting properly. And it's pissing me off. And it's pissing me off. And it's pissing me off. So yeah, technically we're right at the trend line. I don't know why it readjusts that. Little bot. Again, as we said, right? I spoke about this yesterday, right? We came down. Now, if we even come down and we just continue to channel upward here, you can see, absolutely fantastic. Oh, wait, is this today? Is this today? Will HGRAF see a correction? I don't know, Johnny. I don't know what to tell you. The run-up, are they already pricing in the FDA approval for MBOT? No, of course not. Stock ran up immediately as soon as the ball dropped, remember? Just getting started. Why are people so negative? God. Yeah, MBOT could definitely spike up bigly. What a great call. Another one. Also, Rolls Royce. Anybody? Anybody with a little Rolls Royce? Huh? As you can see, 1495. 1495 new highs today for Ricey. And of course, if we back all the way up, originally brought to you on this channel at $1.20. I repeat, $1.20. Got those t-shirts, Nick? Oh, I'm too damn good. Just too damn good. How's our HII looking? Yeah, we're holding, baby. We're holding. Oh, yeah, look at that. Pop right up. Channel down to the moving average. Catch a nice little bounce. Go right back up. Did a video back at 215. Stock recently, of course, hit new highs of 293. 215 to 293 just in a few months. But, you know, this isn't a crackhead drone stock that's trending on Reddit, so no one took it seriously, and everyone missed out on 35-40%. Which, of course, is your problem. It's not my problem. I did my job. One of the best to ever do it. Well, Rolls-Royce back at COVID times. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. That's when they started beating it up, man. That's when all of a sudden the numbers got out of whack. The books were upside down. They had to restructure their costs. They had to just realign the whole business. And they cut the dividend. They completely decimated that stock. And even when I looked at it, I said, hey, you know, it's a brand name company. They're going to restructure. They're going to get their ducks in a row. And then you're going to see, you know, the contracts are going to start flowing back in. And the revenue's going to be solid. And they're going to be on the up and up. And there you go. Now it's a name in the space again. Now they're financially healthy. Now they reinstated the dividend back. It's phenomenal. Need me to model the merch. Leave it up to the Canadians to always say some weird shit, right? New CEO and flying. Yep. Winner, winner. Chicken dinner. What was the other one, too? CXW I was recently talking about as well, right? We had somebody who like bought a call like right here and caught that pop. Frickin' Canadians. We could see CoreCivic hanging out. Again, we really were supposed to break up, and they broke it down going into earnings, and then a phenomenal earnings beat. So that's why I still really do believe this stock should really be on the up and up. Again, even if you catch about 6.5, 7 points from this move, you're still talking about 33% roughly. But there's also price targets at 30, 35 a share. So there could be a big return coming for CXW. Had somebody, again, the other day come in right after we spoke about it. They jumped in some leaps. Freaking leaps are up 15% immediately. Like I say, you just got to buy the winners, give it some time. Then all of a sudden, oh, wow, I'm up 30%. Oh, wow, the stock's up 70%. I'm telling you, shit's easy. And I know we were looking at Ampex also that hit highs. How's that doing? Yep, still up and up above that top trend line. Again, Ampex was another phenomenal call by yours truly. We saw the breakup. Everybody was excited with the stock at 3.5. I drew out some support trend lines. I said, in my opinion, I'd wait for a break. I'd wait for a pullback to about sub $2. Then I'd take a position. Sub $2. Then I'd take a position. Stock ran up to 8. And of course, 966 as of recently. So, yet another one. Yet another one. PayPal, little bounce back, right back to the trend line. I'm telling you, this stock should be higher. I'm telling you. SoFi, that's another one. SoFi, another one. $6 a share, dropping in the descending wedge. People telling me, you're crazy. This company is going to drop big. It could go to $4. You don't understand what's going on with SoFi. Do you even know how banks work? That's what happened here. Now the stock's here. So you tell me, do I know how this shit works? What do you think, Rico? I know what I'm doing or not? Freaking stock runs 300%. Yeah? Can you see me now? I know that you know that we know that you know. And you know what? Now you know. And I'm glad you know. Because knowing is half the battle. And we were looking at SoFi, even before that, too. We were looking at SoFi almost similar to like Honest. I know, again, a lot of you may not have been around, but almost like Honest, right? We were looking at the growing fundamentals. We saw them bring SoFi down into the wedge. And then, boom, they pop it up and out. And then they bring SoFi down. And then, boom, they pop it up. Look, you can see. Time and time again. Look. Cool it down. Consolidate it for a few months. The traders get upset. Boom, they pop it. Consolidate it down into a wedge. Have it hit new 52-week lows. They wouldn't touch it. They thought I was crazy. Kaboom, kaboom. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's why, like I said, not to be a schmuck, bro. When I started this channel, if I had 50, 100,000 capital, I'd be retired already. You would have seen literally a self-made millionaire inside of just a few years. Right? And nobody could have said anything to me. Yeah, it was a 360 no-scope for sure. 100%. 100%. Whipped, flicked, stock and barrel. Would you continue doing videos? That's our question. I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't care. But like I said, you know, if it's some random crackhead stock, people will watch it like crazy. Go back right now and look at that HII video. There's probably 90 views on it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. I try to do the right thing. I try to make a long-form video. I try to let everyone inside my mind to see what I'm seeing and see what the play could potentially be. And no one listens and nobody cares. And the sad part is, if I do one or two videos like that and they don't really get views, honestly, the embarrassing part is if one or two of you here on these live streams throw up a couple of bucks to me, that probably would be more money than I would make by doing the videos. So that's what I mean. Unless it's like a SMCI video that's going to blow up and get me views real quick, believe it or not, it's not really worth it for me, unfortunately. And again, it's really because you people aren't viewing it. So I don't know. It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up because also I know that I have a lot of international people in the community. A lot of people can't make it to the live stream if they're sleeping, if they're working, right? So of course I want to do videos for them too, for the people who aren't able to be here with us. But again, it's unfortunate, but I mean, I've been doing it for years, you know? I really have been doing it for years, and I've been putting you guys first. And unfortunately, I think now we've hit the point of no return. And I think now, especially after these runs we've been seeing that have not been a part of, I think I'm entitled to start being a little selfish here. Yeah, hey, listen, Rico, like I said, everyone's got their own way to do it. Everyone's mentality is different. But at the end of the day, you know, I know they're learning differently, and it's unfortunate, really, because social media really changed everything. But again, you can see, find a nice, stable company like HII, under the radar, no one was talking about it, and we just knew. We just knew. Would Patreon be an option? Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah. Because I was thinking also, because I know there's like the Discord bot that you can bring into the Discord, and I think they only take like a little bit and you can set up like monthly subscriptions and whatnot. But also at the same time, like you say, not everyone is in the Discord, right? So if they're just watching the YouTube videos, then yeah, I'd have to put something like a Patreon on the videos as well. I don't know. I don't know. YouTube members only videos. Come on, huh? Want me to wipe your ass for you too? Yeah, put out some members only videos sometimes. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, I was actually licensed. I try to help you all with short-term, medium-term, and long-term advice, questions, right? I'm telling people, again, to be diversified. I'm over here, I'm watching the major indices, the trending stocks, the under-the-radar stocks. I'm trying to keep an eye on the 10-year, 20-year yield, the dollar, oil, right? I've always spoken about hedging, keeping hedge plays in place, whether we're talking about the VIX, we're talking about gold, silver. I've done a couple of videos on Bitcoin even. Nobody cared. Those videos got like 30 views. That's what I mean. If I'm going to take time out of my day to make a video and no one's going to care, whether it's you guys don't care or whether it's the channel so small that no one sees it, whatever it is, it's just a waste. It really is. It's just a waste. But I'll see, believe it or not, for those people who are on in different time zones, maybe I'll see if I could maybe do like a nightly stream, maybe for like an hour. And like anyone who missed it, you know, if they're able to see that one, they can come in, ask a couple of questions, ask for an update on a stock maybe. We're at 19 likes on the stream. We're looking for the big 2-0. Looking for the big 2-0 on the stream. Don't forget to like, thumbs up on the stream. The world is now run by algorithms, and that is what the algorithm looks at. Oh man, I can't believe this HGRAF, man. What a freaking call, bro. What a freaking... Can we get dubs in the chat? I mean, you know, I know we already spoke about how awesome I am, but I mean, you just got to keep the vibe going, because I'm just too damn good at this, honestly. And people don't take you seriously, or you're talking about a stock they're not familiar with, they don't feel comfortable, or they hear my accent, could I take this guy seriously? Well, like I said, if you did take me seriously, I could have changed your life. So, who's the jerk off now? You think I care about my accent? You guys, you can tell also, it's, you know, we're streaming live. It's like half entertainment at this point also. So, you know, I'm laying the accent on thick. Yeah, accent 75% of the value. That's what I mean, you know? I'm having fun with it too, but again, some people, they might hear the accent, or you might look at a stock in a sector they don't look at, so they don't care, they don't listen, they don't watch the video, and that's the problem. That's the problem. That's why I always said, if I have something to say, I know I think differently than everyone else. And if I have something to say, you should listen. In the end, it can only help you. I don't think I'm really hurting anybody. And there you go. See, I love it. I love it. Unfortunately, this platform takes a chunk. So, if we're dealing with that, we can potentially do that privately. But Neoquan, I really do appreciate it, brother. I know you're always in here when you can be, and throwing out the likes, you're throwing out a couple of bucks towards me when and if you can. So I really do appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, 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 yeah. We could do it, a little differently. We could try to do it. Take a look at MBOT. God damn it. That's another thing that sucks about being live, You talk about something, and then 30 minutes later, someone shows up, and it's like, yo, did you see HGRAF today? MBOT, again, perfectly. These lines are messed up on the daily, but we'll back up for you here. Again, quick MBOT update, right? We had the drop, rejection off the trend line, and then boom, we pop almost 8% right back up to the trend line. Oh, wait, did numbers come out? Hey, how do we look? Down 14 cents. That's nothing. That's nothing. So yeah, that's what I mean. There's people out there, like I said, Neoquan proving it to you people. All you pikers out there. There's people with size. There are people who are up massively from watching me and following me. And that's what I mean. Even something like that, a lot of people might be taken back. Like, holy crap, $100 donation. Like, again, I'm not trying to put the spotlight on him, but probably a drop in the bucket for him, right? And that's what makes me laugh. It's like the people who are up and coming, who don't have much, who ironically are the ones you want to try to help the most, right? Those are the people you really want to take them to the next level. And it's funny because they look at it completely different from the people who actually have money and move wealth around and see, 6-7-figure returns from what we talk about. That's what I mean. Something like that, like 100 a day even. Like, that's nothing. That's nothing. That's why I always told you, the people who have $20,000 accounts, the 24-year-olds who think they know everything, they don't see value here. You get someone in here who's like 50, who went through a couple of crazy bear markets, been through the frickin' ringer with all these salesmen and all these BS frickin' brokers calling him up, churning his account. That's what I mean. You find someone like that who's working with millions, tens of millions, and you bring them to me, they see value hand over fist. I promise you that. I promise you. Warning, the stream's current bit rate is lower than the recommended rate. We recommend you use a stream bit rate of 6,800. I thought I changed that like 2 weeks ago. Whatever. It's always an issue. Right? It's always an issue. Alright. We're delaying the inevitable. Looking at the 10Q here, MBOT. R&D, 2.1, 3.5 for the 6 months. These increase primarily due to costs associated with outsourcing the manufacturing of the Liberty product, as well as increased payroll and related expenses due to salary increases and bonuses. Hell yeah. I mean, if we're about to change, potentially revolutionize the cardiovascular robotic surgery sector, then yeah, I think you throw out a couple of bonuses around. Got to push it through, though. Got to make sure you push it through. Otherwise, then, obviously, might look like an asshole. Okay, gen expenses, mainly attributed higher payroll. Yes, we just spoke about that. 223,000. Primarily due to interest income. Use some cash. Okay. Expenses related to the Liberty endovascular robotic surgical system. As the endovascular. I keep saying cardiovascular. My apologies. As the company shifts towards commercialization, as well as an increase. Yep. Okay. Okay, cash, okay. We're developing the system. Yes, we know this. The first fully disposable robot for endovascular interventional procedures. System designed to be compact, mobile, and remotely controlled, again with our Game Gear controller, aiming to improve surgical outcomes and expand access to life-saving procedures. The Liberty system has been successfully tested in multiple preclinical studies, achieving a 95% success rate in reaching vascular targets and demonstrating robust navigation capabilities. The system's remote operation capabilities were also successfully tested, achieving a 100% success rate in a New York-based study. New York. Submitted at 510K, FDA, following successful human trial. Company anticipates FDA marketing clearance in the third quarter of 2025. Company anticipates FDA marketing clearance in the third quarter of 2025, with commercialization activities expected to commence thereafter. Expecting in the third quarter of 2025. They got their certification, supporting future CE mark approval, which is anticipated in the second half of 2026. Future CE mark approval anticipated in the second half of 2026. This will allow the company to market the Liberty system in Europe and other regions. Yep, very good. Seems to explore the integration, imaging systems with autonomous robot. Yeah, of course. You take an imaging AI system, you hook it up to this freaking surgical robotic arm, and boom, right? You can, who knows, 1,000 patients an hour. You're out here saving lives, doing, surgical procedures that the average surgeon might look at and say, I don't know, the success rate might be like 40%, right? You know what I mean? And we have the precision now. I mean, it's again, you can see, game change. That's what I mean. There is a method to my madness. Y'all better get out there and tell them who's who. Better get out there and tell them. Better buy yourself a bullhorn. Go to the store, get some oak tag, right? Some big magic markers. Make yourself some big signs, some posters, right? Get out there. Tell them who's who. An agreement with Emory. Oh, yeah, we just read that. Ongoing military operations in Israel, where Microbot's R&D is based, have not yet materially affected operations. That's because they have trillions of dollars from us. But the company is monitoring the situation closely for potential impacts on clinical and regulatory milestones. Microbot expects to continue incurring net losses as it advances the development and commercialization of the Liberty system. The company plans to raise additional capital through public and private issuances. The company plans to raise additional capital through public and private issuances. So, yeah. Again, sounds like we're just hanging out. Again, saw a slight increase in expenses. I know they were saying they handed out some bonuses and whatnot. But, yeah, in my opinion, we are waiting. And hopefully now, again, that's probably why the stock is gaining traction again, because now, if we're back on the timeline and everyone's anticipating, again, the third quarter of 25, which is now, then we may have some pretty big days ahead of us here with MBOT. Imagine earnings and approval. Yeah, it's going to be massive. Going through the channel, you have also made a video on HG as well, Hamilton Insurance. Yes, I looked at all of them. Yes. Yeah, I am too damn good. How's that stock doing too, right? Slow and steady, up and up, right? Up a chunk. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Shit's easy. We should look at Deciphering Dreams. All right, hey, listen, I mean, it sounds cool. I don't know. Throw me a symbol or two. We could check it out. We could see what companies are out there. If you're being for real, if they're really trying to work on something like this, then yeah, we can check into it. Dilution is not our friend. Yeah. But again, I don't think it'll be very much. And, we just kind of went through that report. Expenses seem light. Right? We're talking like a couple of mil here and there. So that's why, even if they do do a new issue, I don't think it'll be too crazy. And tossing your channel's name around stock twits here and there, especially people that have tickers like MBOT, Ampex. Awesome, man. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. Stock twits might be worse than Reddit, honestly. I don't know if I can make a stock twits account. So the fact that you're on there and, you know, trying to tell people who's who, I appreciate that, brother. I really do. It means a lot to me. You know, whether I get one person or a million people, again, it doesn't matter. It's the thought that counts. I appreciate that. And yeah, you never know. You know, you never know. You never know who you find, who you might run into. But yeah, like I said, the issuance, little potential dilution that might come here, I really don't think it's going to be an issue. I mean, where were we? I want to say like we were like around here when kind of around like last earnings where they and other people were saying that also, right? We were talking about, oh yeah, they might issue shares though, you know, that'll bring the stock down. What do you think? Like, where could it go? And I don't know if I mentioned it in a video, but I mentioned it in the Discord, I remember. And I was saying, like, you know, the stock, in my opinion, should be up here. And if they issue, like, a chunk of new shares and we drop down, you know, to, like, here, sub 2, back, like, 170, 160, I said, in my opinion, I'd be all over it like white on rice. So, again, some people are like, dilution. But I'm telling you, the big boys out there are like, dilution? That's what separates the men from the boys. Reading in between the lines, sounds like they're waiting for the FDA approval, share price to spike before the issue. Yeah, of course, wouldn't you? Of course. If you're about to take my stock from 3 to 8, yeah, I'd wait for that announcement too, and then say, yeah, oh yeah, listen, by the way, throwing out, you know, tossing out a couple of more shares, gonna bring in a couple of $1,000,000, but hey, FDA approval, you know, and now we're off to the races moving forward. So that's what I mean. That's why I think I really don't see it as a big issue. And even if we do see like boom, a big drop, in theory it should recover quickly. So that's why, like yeah, it's there on the horizon, but I don't give it much weight in my eyes. If they needed like another year instead of another couple of months, then it might be an issue, right? Because we can say, oh yeah, if they issue more shares, the Wall Street's going to keep them down for like 3 months before they bottom and, you know, try to bounce them, right? It'd be a different strategy, but we supposedly have, hopefully, big news coming soon. So if I diluted, drop 7%, and pop back up. Dilution okay if they get good return? Yeah, that's what I mean. If there's something big coming on the horizon, that like we said with MBOT, or even somebody like SoFi, like, yeah, you know, we're doing a little dilution, we're issuing some shares, but, you know, at the rate they're growing, again, as NeoQuant said, the return that they're seeing on the capital, on each share, it significantly outweighs any drop you may initially see from that dilution announcement. And that's why I say, in my opinion, I like to look at the overall company, right? Let's look at the health, the actual business of the company behind the stock. That way, if or when we get some sort of announcement, we'll also be able to understand how the stock's going to react. And yeah, you can see MBOT again. You know, you had that initial drop, basically back to the fib, almost back to the trend line. And now you can see you're seeing a slight bounce. You're back above $3 a share. That's what I mean. The biggest negative, if you would, is that, they gave out a couple of bonuses, right? And the expenses went up a little bit. But again, it's essentially the same exact situation as it was at 359. So that's why I think you see down, you see up. So I think it just hangs out. And I think as the word spreads, and people tell other people, like, oh, hey, listen, I'm holding, shares of this stock MBOT, and I'm up a little bit, and supposedly they're going to get some big FDA announcement soon, right? Now, that's what I mean. The new people now are going to flow into the stock. That's another reason why, in my opinion, it'll offset the dilution as well. Hey, Joey Bag of Donuts, how you doing, brother? And everything else. A lot of these names just kind of flat, huh? Barely seeing movement. Speed. LAC back down, huh? I mean, it did just pop. Yeah, back to back. Again, LAC. I mean, still going to take a little bit of time, right? We're talking at least like a year and a half until we're officially set up in mining. But again, I just remind everybody, when we got the 2.2 or whatever it was billion-dollar loan from the Department of Energy, that pumped the stock up into the fours. And we were saying, again, my opinion, stock really fair value, I feel, is like 4, 5, 6 a share. So whatever you do with that information is entirely your own prerogative. Fubo! Fubo! See, look at that, just slowly stepping on the up and up. That's what I mean, right? That's what I was saying even back here. As we were going into earnings and we were initially watching the stock and looking at the numbers, and then we saw the subscriber growth and the rate at which they were beating revenue. And that's why I was saying the whole time, even at, 2 and change, I was saying the stock is worth more. And we saw it go up to almost 4 on its own merits, again, which is a double, right? And anytime they beat it up, right, you heard me out there pounding the pavement, and I was like, hey, listen, just remember, subscribers growing, right? The stock was up here, now it's down here. Just remember, they're growing, right? They have the value. People asked me too at the whole time back here. People were asking me, like, yeah, you really like Fubo? You don't think we should buy like Disney or yeah, like Fox or whatever other stocks out there? And I was saying, no. You want the up and coming, you want the smaller company that is growing, gaining market share, and rocking the boat. You want the company making waves. And you don't want to be the company who buys the company. You want to own the shares of the company being bought. That's where the value is. And again, we looked at the stock 1 and change, 2 and change. Freaking stock went up to 650. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you can't forget these things. That's what I mean. I'm like an elephant. You can tell. I almost remember like every little thing. Especially if it's a stock we stayed at. And again, going back the last several years, I really think the only stock on the YouTube channel that I gave a decent amount of attention to and got completely incorrect was STEM. And again, that was management, that was them dropping the ball, right? We saw the growing backlog there. We had it. It was there. It was going to be huge. They dropped the ball. But, yeah, that's really, to my knowledge, the only stock that I looked at, like, multiple times and got incorrect. Any other stock that I gave attention to ran up huge. And that's why I say, again, when, if people don't watch the videos, they don't take this seriously, like, that's your problem. That is your problem. STEM, again, the problem is, this just came too late, and it's just not that impressive. And we had to go through hell and completely decimate the stock and do a freaking 1-for-20 reverse stock split before we were able to get back on track and slightly bring in a little over, 30 mil, right? 32.5 on 30. Then you can see recently now we're up to 38.4 on 32. But if you recall, a year and a half ago, when we were watching it going into earnings, thinking they were going to destroy estimates, I mean, earnings were up to 80 million, 150 million, 240 million. Yeah, now they're slightly beating 30 million in change. So did they beat? Are they up as of late? Yeah. If you're asking me, based on the last 2 quarters, would you buy it now? No, absolutely not. Now, unfortunately, in my opinion, I can never buy the stock again. Just of how frustrating and disappointing it was. Yeah, you're better off. Just get your money out. Better off. See, that's another situation where it's funny because we'll see, right? All stocks only go up, but you always have your stems in the mix. And that's why, unfortunately, even though it seems easy and it seems like everything just climbs over time, unfortunately, if you just blindly buy into just random stocks, you will most likely lose money. It's 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. Anyone else report earnings today? You guys were looking at? What today? The 12th. I feel like this was a popular day. Archer had earnings news yesterday, right? It dropped down below trend line, tried to spike it back up today, about 7.5%. Yep, we're still pre-revenue, wider than expected loss. It really should reject here and should come back down to like here. This was the key level right here. Looks like, I think that was just a key level, right? There's no gap there or anything, but yeah, about 6.25. Right, so something like this, you kind of slowly bleed it down, sell it off, bring it back down to key support, bring it back down to key level, and then bounce it again. Right, and that's what I mean, do a video about HII, AMD, nobody cares. Do a video about some crackhead stock like this, and, then all of a sudden the video will get, 500 views, 1,000 views. Every other person who watches wants to leave a comment. Just breaks my heart. I'm sure if, if you stick with it and if you're able to build a YouTube community of, like 50,000, 100,000, then I'm sure it's worth it to like always put out videos and just constantly pump out content. Arco earnings tomorrow morning. They beat it up. They spiked it right back up. 6.5. Broke back over 7 today. Looking for a little less than 8 cents on 1.14. Again, I do still like it in theory. I really do still like it. Again, we looked at it like here, kinda. So we went on, again, we went on a multi-year run in this stock. And now you can see, even though we're down, we're kind of still in this tight little downward channel. And again, I know it sucks. I know a lot of people might be getting impatient, but you know, the numbers really aren't that bad. Again, you can see, look, slight miss on the EPS, but the revenue is there. Again, look, slight miss on the revenue, EPS nice and healthy, beat and a beat. Slight miss on EPS, beat on revenue, right? And again, this is the McDonald's, like in the Caribbean and in some, let's find out again. Yeah, Caribbean, Brazil, Northern Latin America, right? Aruba, Colombia, right? So this is some of like the island and the South American McDonald's locations. Also, we recall, I think it was like back here or something, they, well, I think they like locked themselves in for like the next 20 years now with the McDonald's parent franchise. So, you know, again, people lose faith, and the only issue here is that I know like the share amount is kind of increasing. Income statement. Oh, actually, the share amount has not been increasing at all. See our equity slowly ticking back up. Back above $500 million. Oh yeah, the debt. Yeah, the debt's been ticking up. But free cash flow technically is closer to zero. Sitting here with a couple of $100 million on hand. That and you can see too how the short-term liabilities are outweighing the assets. That's what I mean. So if we're taking on this short-term debt, right? But business is consistent. We have our dividend, right? Looks to be increasing year over year. That's what I mean. It's going to eventually turn that corner. You know, but I know people get impatient. You know, in my opinion, again, unless I read or see something bigly negative, then I'm probably going to feel the same way about the stock. And I would say, you know, either buy or hold, in my opinion. But remember, this happened with AMD as well, right? Again, literally, multi-year run, almost like the same thing. And then we drop down, right? We start to tighten and channel down. And then all of a sudden, boom, and the stock's up freaking 50% from where it was before it started selling off. Like, you know what I mean? So, what's up with sound? Yeah, also Arco, yeah, there's the currency exchange and whatnot, and yeah, like Deli mentioned also with the rate cuts. So that's what I mean. You just got a bunch of nonsense right now that's just kind of keeping that stock down, but hopefully they come out with decent numbers, and yeah, it looks like they should easily be able to pop back up to like 8.5 or something. SoundHound again, basically right to this trend line, almost 16.5 today. Yep, we were up bigly, came down right to the trend line, fought it for 2.5 hours, and then ended up bouncing off of it. So, still looks pretty bullish, in my opinion. But yeah, Sound just beat revenue estimates on earnings. They just increased the guidance a little bit. Discord community buy stocks on your video recommendations, though. Not always. Not always. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, I'm trying to do everything for you guys, and I'm not doing anything for myself. And, you blink, and all of a sudden now I've been doing this for like 4 years. And I personally have nothing to show for it, when you all technically could have had your lives changed and could be up tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. Like I said, we got people up 7 figures just off one position. So, like I said, you guys are making out like bandits. CRWV earnings were today. CoreWeave down about 8% right now. Mixed earnings. Fail to wow AI bulls. Okay. Revenue was there. Yeah, surprisingly, though, they lost more while bringing in more. Which, yeah, is negative. Because that tells me if they, like, barely beat these estimates, then the loss obviously would have been much more extravagant. So, yeah, they're seeing an 8% drop here. In general, though, I'm sure the stock is overvalued. I probably don't even have to look at it. Right? They just brought in $1 billion for the quarter, which is $4 billion for the year, and we had a $70 billion market cap, right? So automatically we're overvalued. EPS has been light. Last year brought in 1.9, lost 800, so that's 1.1. Debt almost $12 billion. Short-term issues will lead to long-term growth. What's this company do? Well, they can't all be winners, can they? ARCO is a bit of a hedge against U.S. stock. Yeah, you could look at it like that. You could look at it like that. Because we were also talking about how we were pumping and seeing the money kind of flow back into American business and American stocks, right? And that's an international play. So that's what I mean. Something like that might remain a little quiet for now, but that's a good point as well. If other U.S. stocks begin to sell off or take a hit, then you might see ARCO actually start to rise. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I personally think they can push somewhat lower, close to the chart. Don't get me wrong, have my eyes on it. All right. Yeah, rate cuts would definitely help a couple of these stocks. Yeah, Sound, again, we looked, last time we looked, we had a short float was like 33% or something. So we could potentially see that 20+ mark again. Looking to buy more HGRAF. Load the boat. Loading the boating. That's what I'm talking about. Up to 23 likes. I hope. The boat is loaded and on the move. Let's check in on some of our big speculative plays. BNG up to 423 holding. Right, again, I told you guys, in my opinion, that's what I mean. There's value there. Just like Intel again, perfect. Intel. Again, the stock was like in the 19s. It was hanging out at 20. I kept saying, there's value there. There's value there. There's value there. Right? Trump bashed the CEO. Then all of a sudden he wants to meet up with the CEO. And I'm telling you, in my opinion, that was all kind of a business strategy as well. That's why a lot of people think, oh, Trump's an idiot. No, he's not. No, he's not. No billionaire is stupid. Unless they really got blessed with an investment or something. But basically, right, he said something wild like that. Then all of a sudden, all right, he calls him in like, all right, let's sit down. Let's talk about, your frickin' business and how you're screwing up and how you could frickin' turn this around. Right? Because remember, Intel, one of our oldest tech companies, it was a massive leader in the industry for who knows how many decades, right? So what Trump wants to do is he wants to re-kickstart the value back into that massive brand name American tech company. Do you understand? And again, today the stock was running and it hit the high 21s, almost 22. If you just bought it on that dip at 20 when I was talking about it, you just made 10%. Even if you don't want to be married to it and hold it for long term. Boom, boom, in and out, 10%. Typical Trump move. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I'm telling. That's why, a lot of people, of course I understand, people on the left, they didn't vote for Trump, so, they're never going to give him a leg to stand on. I mean, it really does get out of hand, in my opinion. But at the end of the day, the guy's not an idiot. And you do have to give credit where credit's due. Does he say some random wild stuff sometimes? Of course. Is there, a couple of headlines with him with women and stuff? Yeah, okay, of course. I mean, if you were a frickin' billionaire, I'm sure you'd have, a lot of encounters with women as well. That's why people make me laugh. People really make me laugh. Oh, this guy's an idiot. Look, Trump taco, blah, blah, blah. It's not about taco. It's not about backing out. It is strategic business strategy. And the problem is the average person, unfortunately, as we said earlier, you can't fix stupid. So that's what I mean. If these people don't really read up on this, if they don't understand like how the Federal Reserve work, how tariffs really work, do we pay tariffs when we export? Do they pay tariffs when everyone's importing, taking advantage of our money, our American consumer market? That's what I mean. People don't know how any of this works. And then no matter what headline they read, it's like, oh, this guy Trump's an idiot. It's like, nah, he's actually a heck of a lot better than you may even realize. Because again, the media, we know, the media kind of on the other team, right? So you're not really going to get the full story if you just turn on the news. But if you've really been paying attention to some of the stuff that this guy's doing, I mean, this guy's knocking it out of the park, man. And even if you go back to his first term as well, like the things he was doing, the rate at which he was doing them and getting them done, that's why they were saying, like, if you look at all the things he did, all the changes he made, it compared like 4, 5, 10 times to as much results as presidents who came before him. And that's why, I know a lot of people may not like him, but he's a lot better than people may realize. Thanks for the stream, another tomorrow. Yeah, we'll jump on tomorrow. Of course. USAR, again, that was what? Domestic supplies or something? Yeah, rare earth. Okay, we ended up climbing up and out of this triangle we were looking at. And loss of 8 cents on 10 cents, okay. Right, yeah, and they were just talking about the, they were talking about the deal with the magnets. Pipeline cleaning, inline inspection tool. Production of magnets for the order is expected to begin early next year. Disclosure came on Monday that is seeing a rising customer interest as it prepares to kick off production. Magnet facility. 12 MOUs and joint development agreements to date, representing potentially 300 tons of annual production with customers in aerospace, defense, data center, automotive sectors. So, in my opinion, I do think, in theory, for the long term, I do think it is a buy. 1.8 billion, it's rough, because, I mean, that can be viewed as very cheap, and it can also be viewed as pretty expensive. Based on what I just read, I do think it's a buy. I do think it could be on the up and up. And again, if we're talking about producing this stuff for domestic magnets or whatever they're talking about, then yeah, it's probably going to be massive, and you could probably easily get to 10, 20 billion, in my opinion. 19 may not be the best price. Because again, we've seen the premature breakouts in the symmetrical triangles lately, right? And we can come up, and then we could come right back down, and then we can break to the downside, like we may, like we kind of should have initially, right? So, You know, I do think you can get a little bit of a better price, but you do see the volume coming in. We just broke up and out. I mean, listen, if you want to take a position, again, domestic materials, you know, you see the growth, you see the writing on the wall. I understand if you like it, if you want to take a position. Again, in theory, I like it. Technically, it's not worth 19 a share, but if you wanted to begin piecing your way in, very, very understandable, in my opinion. Have a good night, Deli. Take it easy. Thanks for stopping by, brother. Appreciate that support. Hoping for an HGRAF red day. Yeah, I don't know, man. Freaking thing does not stop. And again, we technically ran right up to this line here. Even though it's not showing it to me. Ran right up to the line. Oh, it's up there? Really? Whoa. Whoa. Now, let's try you. Didn't really change anything. But again, yeah, HGRAF. We see the breakup coming out of the triangle, right to top trend line, as predicted. Slight pullback. Again, you could maybe see like this. Maybe. But again, you'd have to keep an eye on that moving average. We'd have to keep an eye on the volume. Look at that. Average volume on HGRAF. Again, it was like 1.6 million before all this started, remember? Now it's up to 3.6 million. And we still had 9 million shares trade hands today. And Neo, thank you. Thank you for thanking you for thanking you. All right, so thanks for that. Oh, yeah. Market cap 420. Hi. Hi. Let's see. How about if we check like Yahoo Finance? See what else was trending today. ASTS rebounding 8%. Because why not? Space, brah. Space, brah. Rocket Lab down 3.5%. Wow. SMCI slow rebound here. 2.7% today. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Can't keep a good man down. Ion Q, I believe we recently looked at. I think they had a decent report. Yep, revenue came in over 20 mil. Does possibly actually look like a descending triangle forming. But I did always like Ion Q. I think it was one of the first ones we looked at, like back here somewhere. But at the time, they were one of the few companies that were actually bringing in revenue. So that's why I kind of spoke positively about them. Yeah, and I remember I think we did a video like right around here. And we ran like right up to this point. And then we had a massive breakout. I mean, people really began piling into these quantum stocks and whatnot, so they're all overvalued now, but I guess it's really up to you if you want to take a position at these levels. Hims and hers, 4%. That look. Yeah, we're below trend line. Like I said, I'd wait for a pullback here. I was saying sub 40. I don't remember exactly when, but you can see we came down to 40 and went on a big run. But I just think, you know, a little ahead of itself. I think we can get a pullback. I think we can get a pullback, especially with slight revenue, right? We can easily bring that down to the bottom of the range. And if you wanted it, you can get it for technically about 25% cheaper. Tariffs bringing record 27.7 billion in July, this headline says. Very nice. Yeah, I do believe the buyers are outpacing the sellers on something like HGRAF. Pikers want a pike. Oh yeah, we know that, baby. We know that. DG. Yep, I brought it down, and what do you know? Over time, right back up to the gap fill. Bada bing, bada boom. Easy money. How you doing? I like Dolby as well. DLB, Dolby Labs. It's an audio company. Seems expensive though. Axon down. Ping. Nvidia, of course, starts the day in the red and then rallies up and closes up 0.5%. Yeah, Intel closed 2180, 5.5% today, up over a full dollar. Yeah. Good old Swibby. Yep. Technically started to climb out of this potential wedge that was forming, and we're sitting right at this trend line. So if markets do continue to climb, we could help and get some momentum. Again, I was expecting like this type of move going into these earnings, but of course they dropped the stock much further than we saw initially, right? Because I drew out this prediction after hours, after we got these numbers. And it looked like, yeah, they were holding like 930 or whatever, so that's why I called it out like that. But of course, throughout the day, they continued to really beat it up. So eh, eh. I mean, down, right? Up with it, and then down, and then kind of up with it, and then down, and now I called up with it, right? So, I mean, that's what I'm saying, baby. That's why I love it. That's why I love it. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right. Don't worry about it. But yeah, we were initially there, beat it up a little bit, but I like that it's coming back to this trend line. And again, if we can like just like slowly pace ourselves, get some attention going into earnings, if we are somehow able to say or show that it is not as crappy as it looks, then the stock could probably immediately pop back up to 10. But we know that it's cyclical, but again, the overall play, in my opinion, was that it was undervalued. And that's why we were looking for the climb up to like 12, right? We had this drop down here, maybe back to like 13. And again, we saw, even after we had the initial drop, it bounced right back. It was climbing up again, look, almost to 11. So, like, it was there, right? Similar to kind of like a GT situation. I do still like it, but of course there are better performing stocks out there, so it's not for everybody. GT drop down. We're just kind of chilling here. I mean, again, this is actually lower than where we last looked at it. And we saw, again, the breakup to about 12. So we called it and saw about a 50% move in GT from the last time we looked at it. Now we beat it up, again, technically lower than where we were. Like, I don't know. In my opinion, I still like it. I still like it. Right? Especially kind of in like these single digits. And again, even conservatively, if you want to catch a climb back to the high 9s, the 10s, Bang, bang. Make yourself a quick 20, 25%. Starbucks reported. No, the way that person mentioned it. That's why I hate when people say random shit, man. You're telling me about Chipotle again. Look, you know, that's what I mean. Some people don't know. People have to word their shit differently. And I'm over here giving this person credit on what they're saying in the Discord, and they're not really saying the right thing. They're not really saying the right thing. Spoke about this in Trump video. Lamb Weston bouncing around. Yeah, we looked at it. It was like somewhere over here. Maybe. I don't remember. $7 billion market cap. That's what I mean. You know, someone in the Discord was talking about food, but it was more restaurant stocks that they were talking about. Because we know food. I think the food stocks are buys. Again, if we're talking about Sprouts, something like Lamb Weston. I like it. I like it. What time is it? 5:30. Oof. Yeah, it might be time to call it. Might be time to call it a day. All right. Yeah, that's enough. I appreciate everyone's time. I want to thank everyone for stopping by, showing their support, having a good time, enjoying those big HGRAF runs, and what is this? Looking for that uplist thing. All right. So then it's coming, I guess. The universe may deliver it. Yeah, you're welcome, Slick. Thanks for hanging out. Glad everybody enjoyed themselves, but yeah, we stream. What have we been going? A little over 2 hours. I know I came on late, but yeah, I'll try to get on earlier tomorrow, and we could try to do kind of like maybe an all day, kind of like HGRAF MBOT party, hopefully, if everything's on the up and up. But yeah, you're welcome, and see you tomorrow.